And I swear, I believe that we're all live.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay. And yes, indeed we are. We are live. This is going to be. Oh no. Let me see. It's locked. I'm glad I looked at it. Sometimes I don't look. And yeah. Okay. So we are going to have an amazing conversation. Let me share it really quick. Before I start sharing, let me just introduce myself, and then Nita, you can introduce yourself, and then we'll go from there. Okay?
Okay, doc.
Alrighty. Hello, everybody. For those of you who do not know me, I am Shay Brianna the Advocate, aka Shay Brianna Howard. You can vice versa that, however you want to do. But I am a 32, soon to be 33-year-old sickle cell patient advocate who's a child of a sickle cell patient. My mother passed away from complications of sickle cell when I was 7 and she was 25. I am a author, filmmaker, all around creative being. I'm a self proclaimed creative genius. I use my creativity to bring awareness for sickle cell disease, to advance awareness pretty much. I'm also the mother of a beautiful, how old is she? 9-year old sickle cell trait warrior. I had to think about it because, like, she's getting old. I'm not getting old. She's getting old. So I had to, think about how old she was for a second. I almost said 7. So listen, time is flashing by, is what I'm saying. Okay, stay on topic, Shay Brian. Let me. Other than that, I'm a mentor. I am just an all around person who is interested in bettering the sickle cell community. Yeah, so that is who I am in a nutshell. Uh, without saying too much, because I could go on forever with all the list of stuff that I do. So we don't have that type of time today. So, Nita, would you introduce yourself, please, love?
Thank you. Hey, everyone. My name is Nita Thompson, aka Nita T. I'm a sickle cell educator and advocate. Been doing this for more than 25 years, and I'm going to keep on doing it. We collaborate with other organizations, and the end goal is to meet our sickle cell warriors where they're at, not where we want them to be, and to make it so that people really understand and stop the silly stuff. So, with that being said, on to this subject.
All right. So, if um, if you've been keeping up, it has been quite a while since we've done a live like this. Yeah, I don't even want to count because I'm gonna lose track of time. But today, specifically, we are going to be talking about what we feel is missing from the sickle cell community, and we really want to know. We want this to be interactive, so we want to know what other people feel is missing from a patient standpoint, from a supporter standpoint, family member, friends, just from the outside looking in. I want to know everybody. I asked my best friend. He gave me some. Listen, his answers was just like, I was like, whoa, whoa. I almost fell. It was just so like, but it was so on point. What? No, you cannot. No. No. Okay. Um. So yeah, it was just so on point that I truly feel like it really made me broaden my perspective on who we should be asking this question, like not just patients, just everyone, even medical professionals. What's missing from the sickle cell community? I know I have an answer. I have a quite a few answers, but I'm gonna try to limit my answer to like compact it so we're not here all day. But before we get started, I do want to say that if there has been a lot of loss in this community lately, it's only it's only um it's only January. It's only like the second week in January, and we've already lost three people, three or four. So it's 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 a lot going on already. And dealing with sickle cell, we already deal with a lot of loss. So I just want to personally say, my condolences to all the families that lost someone recently, to all the people that are still fighting. Don't let the loss discourage you from loving, from holding people tighter that you love, from showing people that you love them, even especially people with sickle cell, because I know I hear a lot, and I used to be the same way. You don't want to get close to someone with sickle cell because you lose them ultimately in one way or another. But I just think um, it's not really the right perspective to look at it. I think that every person that has sickle cell brings something very special to this world, and you do yourself a disservice when you don't want to get to know them because you're afraid to lose them instead of cherishing them and the memories that you could potentially have with them. So, listen, God placed that on my heart. Okay? So I said that because somebody somewhere I know is feeling that way. And
Yes.
it's just you lose it everyone ultimately. Death is a part of life. And uh, you know, just kind of gotta love and give people their flowers while they're still here. That's why I tell everybody I love them. That's why I tell everybody how amazing they are. That's why I tell people when they get on my nerves. That's why I tell people how I feel, but I give them more grace than not to, than not. So, yeah. Did I even say the topic? I think I kind of went off on a tangent about the. I did. I went off on a tangent. We talked about the what's missing portion, but we're also going to talk about. Um, sorry, we're also going to talk about the Speak Up program. What's new with the program? What are we going to do with the program? And who can qualify for it? All that good stuff. All the information that some people may be looking for. You're gonna have your questions answered right now, like today. So yeah. That being said, let's hop into it, right? I think that when I ask that question, what's missing from the sickle cell community, Nita, what comes to mind for you? Like the first off the top of your head, first thing.
For me, it's understanding and cooperation.
That's a big one.
Yeah, there's a lot that go under each, but those are the two main ones.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Sorry. um Understanding and cooperation. Sorry, I heard something. I know that looked weird, but I was trying to make sure it wasn't. Never mind.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. So understanding between the patients or just in general with the families or medical professionals? Just like care to
Keep,
elaborate a little bit?
keep on going is all of it. And I forgot communication. So there are actually three focuses. Understanding first is for everyone to really understand what sickle cell is and how it impacts them, because it impacts people differently. It depends on how close you are to sickle cell or how far away you are. To say that I have a very close family member, to I have a spouse, to I have a very close friend. That way, being very close, or to saying, my cousin had, or I knew somebody when I was at school and now I'm 33, the impact that they had.
Mm-hmm.
Standing for the doctors and the nurses. But one interesting thing was I recently was advocating for a patient, and I asked the nurse, like, how many patients do you have and how many funerals have you gone to? Her reply was she was the first person to reply, I've been to several funerals and I really know sickle cell. And just to let you know, I know that things weren't done right. And she was a charge nurse, and she changed the path that the patient was taking because she knew sickle cell and it had impacted her. And that's what we need, more people to really understand sickle cell as well as parents. And that's one of the main things, because I've overheard doctors telling parents lies about sickle cell and about their child, even like the child's lazy when it wasn't that at all. So I would go to the parents later on and tell them that, hey, sorry to say, this doctor don't know what he's talking about. And then give them some information and give them links that they can go to learn more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
I can go on and on, but I'll hush it now.
Well, I appreciate you for starting the conversation. I had to share the lives, share to different places. So I couldn't be the one to start. had to I had to, multitask.
Yeah,
So okay. So I definitely understand what you're saying about the communication and understanding, because when I was younger, I didn't understand sickle cell. I doubt that my family really truly understood sickle cell the way that we probably should have, especially for having not one but two sickle cell patients in the immediate family. Uh, Definitely not not to say it's anyone's fault, just that you know when circumstances happen, things go beyond your control sometimes, and people do the best they can. My grandmother was a teen mother, so she was working with limited resources, especially back in the 70s, and then in the 90s when I was born. So I think that's really what motivated me, is because I got to a point where I didn't understand my own illness, and there were questions that I had that I couldn't answer for myself. Like, you know, I could answer them, but I wasn't sure, I wasn't sure that that was the answer. So I went and I did the research for myself. And the more research I did, the more research I wanted to find. I've always been the type of person uh, that wanted to, not to say I was a know it all, but I always wanted to know it all. Like, I always wanted to know what I was talking about, and also know what I could potentially not know. So it was something that motivated me, and it still does to this day, because people ask me questions all the time. And even my daughter, she asks me tons of questions, especially about sickle cell. And the stuff that I can't answer, I sit there and I say, you know what? I don't know right now, but give me a second, give me a little while. And I will go and I will research it, and I will show her where I got the research from, or if it's like videos that I come across, educational videos or something, I'll have her watch it with me. Like things that I know is going to help not just myself learn more and be more understanding about my illness, but also my daughter, because that's one thing you touched up upon that too. Like it's not just the patient at all who's suffering; it's the families as well, especially the immediate family. So to be, in a family with people who don't understand you, who don't attempt to want to understand you, or who are listening to the misrepresentations of what it means to have sickle cell, it can be so damaging, not just to a person emotionally, but physically. It could kill a person. It could sorry, unalive a person. I forgot where YouTube don't play uh, those words. So they could unalive a person
Yes.
and really destroy someone, because this illness is so it is so hard. It's so hard to maneuver. It's so hard to stay consistently positive.
Yes.
As positive of a person as I am, I struggle too sometimes. That's why I have to keep positive people around me, because if not, if I don't keep the positivity around me, it definitely shows up and it changes me internally. And so, and like, even if I am that person that's trying to do outreach and reach out to people who may not be on the same wavelength as me, that's fine. But I still have to take that time to regain what's in me, to refill my cup. Because if I don't, I'm depleted, because I have like a positive charge, have to be either connected to another positive charge to regain that power, or to, you know, leave it. You know how sometimes your remote don't work and you hit it a little bit and sometimes it work, or sometimes you just gotta leave it alone for a second because it just needs to be left alone. Yeah, that's me. I'm the batteries inside the remote. Okay. That is who I am. So, you know, I definitely think that understanding each other as well, like sometimes people could be so committed to misunderstanding you, especially in this community. Like you could put everything, you could explain yourself and your intentions, or you could just have the best intentions in the world, and it's gonna, like, for certain people it's gonna always not be what your intentions was. It's always gonna be misunderstood, and that's because some people are just committed to misunderstanding you.
Yeah.
So
Or if not verified. Because it's just like when you go to a symposium
mm-hmm,
and you do it every year, you always know certain things. The thing
mm-hmm,
that gets me though is the question and answer period. And that's what I honestly wish that we would have more. When we have these experts there, we're able to ask all of the questions in the world instead of saying, okay, no more questions. If we have more time for that dialogue and communication, it would help. And that's one of the things, even with being online, if it's the real truth, or that positivity means so much, but we have so much non-truth out there. And that's one of the point that if a doctor doesn't really know and they're a hospitalist, or they call in the specialist is still not the expert. And it's like they don't want to, and I mean the hospitalist and the hematologist, they won't go to an expert that can give them more information. If they won't even go back to the patient's doctor or physicians or hematologist, there is a challenge or it's a problem. And why that
Mhm.
is, I don't know. It's and even when the patient who definitely knows what they're talking about, and I tell the doctors, well, they learned that from their pediatric doctor who wants them to live their best life and knowing that they're going to age out of pediatric care. The challenge is when you meet that adult doctor who is offended by what our warriors know and
Yeah.
they use it against them. That's where, again, that communication, the understanding, and the cooperation come in. It's like if we can't be a team about my health, or if I'm supposed to be so ignorant about my health, then I have to put all of my trust in you and you don't know anything, there's a problem. Or when the doctor tells a parent something and the parent knows it not to be true, but they humbly allow the hospitalist to do all for their warrior, and it turns out to be no more than getting money, more money from your insurance company. I said it. Whoops.
Listen, I'm gonna start saying some stuff. I'm trying to take it easy. I'm trying to, I'm trying to ease my way down that street because I ain't trying to have you. You know, I'm just saying. So it's gonna start to get a little bumpy. I need y'all to buckle up your seatbelts because,
Yep. Take the ride of truth. The ride of truth.
yeah. Welcome to the ride of truth. Keep your hands inside the ride at all times. Make sure your seatbelt is tight and
Yep.
tip your conductors. Ah, so, yeah, communication, just everything that you just said is the truth because I couldn't tell you how many times a doctor has really tried to tell me something that I knew wasn't true. And I could only imagine had I not been, hold on, that's just here. Had I not been myself, I'm gonna just say it, I'm gonna call it spade a spade. Had I not been me,
Aware. Yes.
and able to keep myself and others accountable, then I would probably not be here right now, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes it's I don't know if it's the ego thing or if it's just that, you know, I'm gonna just say it. What does this little black girl know? That's what they might be thinking. Cause I look younger too, so it's like, what does
Yeah.
she know? It's like, you don't want to ask me what I know for real, cause we'll be here all day. But yeah, so like I was saying, it's all about knowing, and when you know better, you do better.
Yes.
And when you go through things and you go through trials and you make sure that the same thing doesn't keep happening.
Yes.
Now, I'm sorry. I I know that, there's only so much you can control sometimes, but if there are certain things that's happened to me before that will never happen again. Ever. Like you only got to do that to me one time. Okay, in the hospital while I'm like, nah, it will never happen again. So, hello, Master. I'm not going to keep talking because we have a new panelist.
And what's
Hello.
up?
What's up?
How are you?
I'm alright.
Can you please introduce yourself to the people?
My name is Master Bird from Chicago, Illinois. Um, the end. Let's talk.
You get up.
Yo, it don't even. I mean, it's,
Who is Master Bird? What if somebody don't know you? You know what I'm saying? So all they need to know is you're Master Bird from Illinois. That's all
that's
they.
it. That's all they really need to know for real. Yeah, yeah. Anything else, they nosy. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. My name is Master Bird. I'm an artist from Chicago, Illinois. Uh, uh, a parent of 1.5. Uh, what else? Oh yeah, I have sickle cell SS. Uh, yeah, that's a lot right there. Like that's a lot. I
you,
even brought up my kids.
you did. You did. That was okay. So we know the question. I will re-ask the question, which is, what do you feel, Master, is missing from the sickle cell community?
uh, what y'all say already?
So I haven't got to my part yet because I'm trying to ease down the road. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm about to. I'm not trying,
Yeah,
but I'm coming from love. It's
maybe
gonna
I
be
should
coming
let y'all
from
go
love.
first.
But hey, Omika,
What's up,
let's
Onika? How
Hey.
you
let's
doing?
let Omika introduce herself,
Yeah.
and then we'll revisit the question again. Go ahead, love. Tell the people who you
Hello
are.
everyone, I'm Amika Edwards. I am a sickle cell advocate. I have sickle cell anemia. I am 37 years old and I am co-CEO of No Pain No Playroom. I am
Can you
also
speak up a little bit so we can?
mentor for Speak Up. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so sorry I'm late. I had physical therapy, but I'm here now. So, what are you guys talking about?
Oh, nothing. Just
Okay.
what we feel is missing from the sickle cell community. You know.
Okay.
So listen, people who are watching, people who will watch this, we really want to know your answers because listen, we are just now getting into like the meat. Like we haven't even begun to unpack really what
Okay.
what it is that we're you know.
I'm nervous. I'm a little nervous. I don't know what's going on.
Don't be nervous. I just have an answer of my perspective. Look at me, I'm drooling.
Yeah.
My perspective
Mhm.
of things of what I feel is missing. And maybe I can't say I'm wrong. I can't say I'm wrong, but maybe other people may have a different answer or perspective on my answer. So, with that being said, I'm just gonna hop into how I feel, and then you guys could feel free to, say what you would like to say on the subject, so that we can just kind of unpack it for real.
Yeah.
So,
Here, right quick. What I had said was understanding, cooperation, and communication.
mhm,
Okay.
yes, that was what Nita discussed, and that was on point. Okay, definitely on point because that is the truth. Understanding, we misunderstand each other all the time. People misunderstand us all the time. I think that's one of the main things that you can say a person with sickle cell feels is misunderstood. Um, so my answer is a little different, but I feel it's necessary to kind of unpack it. I feel like accountability is missing.
A lot.
From listen, I'm gonna try to take it slow, but I don't know where it's gonna happen, where I'm gonna go from here. So, in case I offend anyone, I'm saying this respectfully, okay? From my heart, out of love. All right? I just had to get y'all that
Yes,
little beginning part because I don't want nobody to take me wrong. But if you happen to take me wrong, the shoe might fit. Listen, that's all I'm saying. Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop playing. Okay, so I feel like accountability is missing from the sickle cell community, from the perspective of not just patients, but the medical community as well, the medical professionals. I think that it goes hand in hand. I think that accountability um, is something that you are taught as a kid most of the time. And if you were not taught to be accountable, or if you were excused a lot because of your illness, then it will be very difficult. You see, I'm trying to choose the words, right? It will be very difficult to hold yourself accountable as an adult. Uh, I'm not just saying it like, oh, you got to hold yourself accountable, you know, got to be a certain way. What I'm saying is, there are a lot of things in a lot of ways we need to be accountable. Meaning, if I get sick tonight in an hour, if for God forbid I start having the worst pain, I have to hold myself accountable to why that pain started, what I plan to do to alleviate that pain, how I plan to treat others who I interact with while I have that pain. When I if and when I need to go to a hospital, how I am treating not just myself, because that's important too. You can't sometimes when you go to the hospital, you just want to give your whole self over and you don't care for yourself while you're there. And it happens, but you're losing your accountability for yourself as well when you do that, because I've done it. I still do it sometimes, but I have to be really, really, really sick in order to do that, meaning like can't walk type sick. So, you know, it's certain things and certain aspects about accountability that you have to consider. I'm talking specifically from a patient standpoint right now. I'm going to get to the medical professionals in a minute. So, as a patient, I want to give y'all a little story real quick, just a quick story about how being held accountable as a kid kind of prepared me to hold myself accountable as an adult. Um, so when I was young, I can't remember what birthday was coming, but I know that my great grandmother, and my mother was still alive. So it had to be probably my sixth birthday. So I got really, 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 really sick, like really, really sick. And I told you this story before, Anita, I think. And
right.
I was supposed to go to Disneyland. Okay. So I was so excited. I'm like, okay. And sometimes even being excited affects your sickle cell,
Yes.
everything. So that's again, but as a kid, you can't know nor control that as well. So what happens is sometimes you just get sick, right? So I got sick. I could barely walk when I got sick. And at that time, my like I didn't go to the hospital. I always was treated at home, which was fine. I was fine. Well, not fine, but I wasn't as bad to go to need the hospital. And so I would go stay with my great grandmother when I was sick because she would baby me more. And I got more attention with her. My grandmother had to work. My mom, had to deal with her illness, with her having sickle cell. So, you know, it left my great grandmother. And so I was at her house and I was sitting there trying to figure out, dang, I want to go to Disneyland. How am I supposed to get there? And my great grandmother, the night before, is telling me, Shay, you can't go. You're not feeling well. And I'm telling y'all, I am bawling. I'm crying. My little heart is broken. I'm shook. I'm like, what do you mean I can't go? you know? And so I woke up earlier than my great grandmother, which is like, she wakes up early. So that was saying something. And I was trying to figure out, how do I convince her that I'm good so that she could convince everybody else? Because, of course, she's a matriarch. Everybody listens to her. So if I could just convince my great grandma, everybody else is going to fall in line, right? So I get up. I'm like, Grandma, let me help you cook. Let me help you clean. And I'm helping her, and I'm dying inside, though.
Yeah.
I'm in so so much pain, okay? But I'm like putting on that mask and that brave face that we do, and and she's like, "Oh, you are feeling better." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm feeling better." She calling my mama like, "Oh, she's feeling better. I think she could go. I think she could go tomorrow. She's cleaning. She's helping me cook." And so I'm like, "Yeah, she called. Okay, she put the call in. I'm in now. I'm in the game." It was all worth it, right? So my mom comes to my great grandma's house. Soon as she walks in, no hi, no I missed you, no. As soon as she sees me, she's like, "You are not better. What are you talking about?"
Mhm.
You cannot fool somebody who has sickle cell. See, back then I didn't know that, right? Because
Yeah.
everybody knows, people with sickle cell, we know what it looked like. We know what that pain looked like, even when we try to hide it, even when we try to act like it's fine. We like, nah, you in pain. So as soon as she seen me, she was like, no.
Mhm.
Like, immediately no. So instead of her, getting mad and stuff, she just explained to me, and she says, "Listen, if you can tell me right now that I will take you to Disneyland, I can take you to Disneyland tomorrow, and you can go walk around the park the whole day. You can eat all the junk food you want. You can, you won't go get tired. You won't end up in more pain. We won't have to leave halfway through. If it get a little too windy, you're
Mhm.
not going to feel no type of way, even if you have a sweater on, because you're better, right? So if you can tell me right now that you can go to Disneyland and be perfectly fine and have one of the best times of your life because it's Disneyland and this is your first time, and I want it to be fun for you
Mhm.
and have good memories. If you can tell me that you can do that, we can go. Now, I was at a crossroad, right? Because I could have lied and I could have said, "Oh yeah, I can go. I'm fine, and
Mhm.
I'll be all right." But the accountability kicked in, because then it's like, dang, my mom, she's a single mom. She's spending all this money. She's sick. She's spending all this time. If I get sick and she gets worried, she could potentially get sick and worse, and she might need a hospital. So all these things start playing in my head just as a domino effect of my one decision about me faking it until I make it, right? So that is when I really learned a lesson about accountability, about I can't even pretend to be well, because it could potentially affect
Right.
everyone else around me if
Yes.
that's the case. So, that really is what gave me my first real life lesson on accountability and knowing, listen, you gotta know. You can't pretend. You can't act as if everything is fine. You have to realize that there's a domino effect to everything, every decision that you make and don't make.
Yep.
Uh, and that's all a part of being accountable. So I really, thank and celebrate my mom for that, because had she just came in, because I'm quite sure she wanted to go to Disneyland. I'm quite sure she wanted to
Mhm.
show me, the best time ever for my birthday. I'm quite sure she wanted to do all of that. And I'm quite sure she wanted to come in and be like, "Oh, you're better." But as soon as she saw me, she was like,
Nope. Right.
So, um, that's just a little, tidbit on how that kind of prepared me for like my life with sickle cell, because I'm at a point where now I have to be careful of decisions that I make. I have to be careful of, you know, saying I'm all right to the extent of my detriment, because now
Mhm.
it's not just me anymore, it's my daughter. And in case y'all don't know Nyla, she just like Adrian, okay? As soon as she see me, you ain't what you talking about? You feeling okay? What?
Like stop
she would
lying.
she would tell me. She's like, "Mom, no, you're not." So
Yeah.
it's all a part of. Sorry, y'all. I don't know why my nose is running so much, but it's okay. But um, what I was saying was just, I know sometimes it's harder to account for those things. It's harder to look back at the times where you may feel like that's probably, if I change my perspective, that was probably one of the worst birthdays I ever had. If I change my perspective and I'm like, I didn't get to go to Disneyland. Sickle cell, sucks, and but it's like it only delayed the inevitable. I still went. I went to Disneyland a few times, before my mother passed away. So it's like stuff like that. It's things that you can change, things you can't change, and knowing that sometimes you have to change your perspective on it. Because if you look at it like, it's the worst thing ever, it'll be the worst thing ever. If you look at it like, this is something I just got to deal with because this is a part of my life and this is something I was born with, and whether I like it or not, is here. It's like, the color of our skin, that's something that ain't gonna change. I mean, it can, but not naturally. So yeah, I'm gonna pause what I need to say right there, because I want to take you guys' response and how you feel about what I said, and just kind of get a little deeper into the conversation. I don't want to monopolize the conversation. So yeah, how do you guys feel about accountability and all that good stuff? Uh-oh, all of y'all are muted. I don't know. There you
I
go.
think it's necessary,
You think it's necessary?
very. But self accountability is one thing, but I think it's in this community, it's I don't think it's much of holding the your peers uh accountable. I think that's missing. You know,
Yeah.
I
Ooh.
think it's a lot of people that allow their friends to say dumb stuff and they just keep going with it. Like I think it's a lot of times you see even people on posts like tearing each other apart, or you might even see some people that might, what, if they tearing each other apart, I'll be okay with that. Um, I just don't be okay with the person that be like the bullying part. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's one thing if we going back and forth, but it's another thing when you see a person who really don't even be wanting no issues, but then you kind of outcast them, and especially when you got friends, you got 20 friends in the comment section, and it's just that one person, but you just keep going and going and going and going, and nobody says stop. Uh, to me, them people like cancer in the community. They need to be cut out. Uh,
Yeah.
but nobody says anything about that. Uh, Nobody says anything about that. Um, yeah, and then like I said, especially with people give out misinformation. Um, if I'm talking about something on my platform, right? Especially even if it's on here, if I'm talking about something and the way that even if I'm just wording it wrong, like I'm cool with you, you letting me know that, what I mean. But I don't think it's a lot of that is going on. If I'm telling the person, yeah, having a crisis ain't that bad. Um, yeah, correct me because I wouldn't want the wrong person to hear that. You never know who might watch this, and then now I done messed it up for everybody. Now I got, a person thinking that all of us that come and say it's real bad, I might be done convinced the person to think that it's not that bad because of the dumb stuff I just said. And people tend to overlook those things. They don't call those things out, because they might not want the debate, the argument, or whatever you want to call it. They might not want the backlash. They might not want it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna correct the person every time if it's something that I know is right. Uh, but a lot of people don't do that. Yeah, a lot of people don't do that. Basically, there's a lot of cowards in the community.
That yeah, okay. Well, listen. Uh Omika, you have anything you want to add to that?
Oh, I shouldn't have said that word.
Yeah.
Listen.
Um, Having accountability is very important, and I didn't really have that growing up because nobody in my family really had sickle cell. I had a great uncle that had it, but we were like not really close, and he didn't live. You know, we didn't really communicate like that. Well, my parents didn't communicate with him like that. So, yeah, I didn't get that lesson until one of my pediatric nurses told me, like, girl, what are you doing? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I need to chill out because I'm doing too much right now. I was like trying to make people feel bad for me, make it like go overboard when it wasn't really that. And then she was just, we just had a conversation. She was like, you don't have to do all that. I understand your pain. You don't have to do all that. You don't have to be like extra. I see that you're in pain, like, but she seen like through it because, she has patients with sickle cell and she knows like what to look for. And after that, I was just like, okay, like I get it. Like I'm not gonna do all that because I didn't need to do all that. But I was getting away with it. So when you're getting away with something, you like keep on testing it and see how far you can go with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was having a specific conversation with a sickle cell patient not a couple days ago, and we the both of us kind of came to the same conclusion. And when we said it, it was like, whoa. So I'm gonna say it. and y'all might take it how you may, but there's a thin line between advocacy and attention seeking.
Mm,
Now, when I say that, it's like, I listen, you know, tell people what you go through, tell people what's going on with you. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, is it necessary? You know, from one patient to another, is it necessary for you to do it every single time, all the time? And that's all you do as your form of advocacy.
yeah,
Um, Not to say that that's a bad thing, just to say if that is the only thing that you're offering to people as a form of advocacy and you're not showing them maybe there is no other brighter side of, not saying not another side of brighter side of life, but just saying maybe that's what your life looks like in that season or for that time. But if you keep claiming that energy and you keep saying that you're sick and all that comes publicly, especially,
Mm-hmm.
is sick, 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 I am, and
yeah,
I'm this, and all that comes out is more on the negative side. Um, so
yeah.
that's
And I don't
that's more of
think
a
people
definite.
understand how powerful that is, how
Yeah,
powerful the words are.
yeah.
Really have to be careful with that. I understand how you feel. You might feel that way, but you
Hmm.
don't speak that onto yourself because it's
Right.
gonna become true.
Yeah,
Mm. The sad part
absolutely.
is that you would try to speak that positivity and they get mad at you over that. You know, you can't tell me about my life. I know how this normally go. Well, it's because you probably normally speak it.
Yeah.
It is golden. Listen, and and understand that we're saying these things to help better the community, because I can speak for myself when I can say I was there at one point. I was that person that whenever I'm talking about sickle cell, it's about the negative stuff that I go through because of sickle cell. And I was always going through because of sickle cell, because I always put that on myself. And that's all the conversation consisted of. If I'm, when it comes to like me educating people, that's only one part of sickle cell. That's only one part of my life. And I noticed if I wanted to get better, I was going to have to do better. Those thoughts in my head that said I wasn't good enough, those thoughts in my head that said I was meant to be sick and not do anything with my life, those thoughts in my head that told me I was worthless, lazy, those thoughts in my head that, you know, crowded and kept me small, they had to go. Or I couldn't be this. I couldn't be who I am today if I kept that mindset. I would never have been this ever if I had kept that mindset. Ever would it be different for me? So you got to come to that point of accountability as well that, listen, I am well. Even when you feel like utter trash, I'm well. I'm healthy. I'm healed.
I think
I'm going
another
to be.
thing that's missing. Oh, I thought you was done. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Uh, Honestly, I think another thing that like the word is there, but I don't think the act is there. That that sickle cell warrior part, like you know, uh, they say the best the they say a warrior is most comfortable when in battle, like when in a fight. That's when he's most comfortable. And it's too much complaining, like for people to be even look comfortable. You know what I mean? It's too much, like you say. It's too many victims. Um, we already,
He
you
on
know,
fire tonight, ain't he? Sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, it's just like it's too many victims, like, and then I think us that's within the community, right? We it's like we've come content with our peers even being victims, even if we not, we still be content with, with our peers doing so. So we are rather, um, there's so many people out here, and I ain't saying everybody. When we think about advocacy, even, uh, there's so many people that's willing to tear down the doctors, but not tear down the community. And that's sad. You know what I mean? Because it's it's too much that we got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen a bunch of like activist people. They've always said our biggest problems was trying to hoping that white people save us. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we don't do for us. You know what I mean? Like, what do we do? Like, where's our part? But
Yeah.
we'll go to the hospital and we'll say, "Oh, they trying to kill me. They trying to kill me. And this person killed that person. And the doctor did this." And they don't never say, "Well, what did you do
Yeah.
or did not do?" I heard a person say that they sit in the crisis um for days, pretty much before they go to the hospital, and I was like, "That's the dumbest thing you ever could have said. Like, why would you even put that out there?" You know what I mean? And then, and then you don't know who younger than you gonna hear that and think that that's a sign of strength.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's a sign of stupidity. No, you don't sit in no days and before you go. Then when you get there and something go wrong, and the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna blame the doctors. And it's like, well, maybe it was because you sat there for 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
I
But
know.
us though, the advocates will keep saying, let's get the doctors. Let's get the doctors. Why don't we start with us, get us together? Then we have something to bring to the doctors and say, now we understand. Now y'all treating us wrong. But we can't mess ourselves over and then go to the doctors and say, well, maybe you did this. But if we was all together, then we able to go to the doctors and say, yo, we did what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Now it's y'all fault.
Listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
About the system as a whole, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's not the doctor, it's probably the nurse, it's probably the pharmacy, it's probably the insurance company. We never know. We have to ask
Mhm.
and get an understanding instead of pointing the finger. I understand how you feel in that moment, and I had to humble myself a few times. I had to apologize a few times because I'm like, okay, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I need to take a step back. What's going on? Let me ask a question. Like, how can we push this forward? You know,
Mhm.
it's not always the doctor.
Yeah.
So true. So true. I know two things that I do is on Facebook, I will contact people by messenger because too many times I've gotten bashed or somebody didn't understand where I came from. And when I'm advocating for patients in the hospital, we got to get a good understanding. It's like, how do you want me to advocate for you? Because in the past, I've had patients tell me I'm too strong or that they argued with me. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, didn't you want this? Yeah, but I said, okay, well, we need a clear understanding even. And to the point, if you call me after you've been in the hospital 4 days, I can't do as much as had I known you were going to the hospital and that you felt you would need to be admitted because you advocate kind of differently in the ED as you do with the hospitalists. But if you don't reveal all of the information and let the advocate know how far you want them to go, then you actually cause more conflict. And
Yeah.
if you don't tell the doctor, like you say, you don't tell them everything from the beginning, A lot of people won't even tell the doctors you had a stroke, because if you let the doctor know or the nurse know that you've had a stroke, then when you ask them to repeat something or clarify differently, they could understand, instead of you just being a problem or the troublemaker.
Hmm.
I I have said it before and I will say it again. Um
I need light. Move. Yeah.
I fully believe, just to kind of bring everything that, all three of you said full circle. It's just like I fully believe, not saying at all that it's never the medical community. Not saying that at all. But I fully believe that for the most part, if you are not able to successfully care for yourself, meaning the same energy you give those doctors about giving you your medication and those nurses about giving it to you on time and all the good stuff that you expect from the hospital, what do you expect from yourself? Not just on a medication standpoint, because that's just a band-aid, you know? That's not solving your problems at all. It's actually causing more. So, what do you do to hold yourself accountable the same way you hold the doctors accountable, the same way you hold the nurses accountable? Do you actually care for yourself the same way when you're at home? So, like Master said, when you go to the hospital, you don't have you've done all that you can do, and now it's like, okay, listen, I know I'm here for a reason because I've gave it all I could. That's why when I go to the hospital, listen, I don't want to hear nothing. Okay? I don't want to hear I'm there for no reason. I don't want to hear, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. I don't want to hear none of that, because as much as I do to stay out of the hospital, even if just for a little while, as much as I do to take care of myself, how the extra mile that I go, the foods that I eat, the things that I drink that's disgusting, but it works. The things that the vitamins I take, the minerals, all the things, the vitamin infusions, the shots, all these things. Me going walking when I do not feel like walking. Okay? All these things. So when I get in front of a doctor, I wish you would tell me that I'm faking or I'm not doing something right, because
Yes.
I've done all that I could do. So when I put my life in your hands, I'm saying you have to take it from here because I've done everything I can. So that's all I'm saying is for, I think that's all of us are saying here, is just have that accountability with yourself, have that account. I hold my friends the same amount accountable as I would hold myself. Like, and they know I expect the same from them. Like, I could call them and say, hey, listen, tell me if I'm tripping on anything, health wise, professionally, emotion, anything, and they're gonna tell me the truth. They're not gonna say, oh, it's okay, Shay. They're not gonna rub my back and tell me it's okay if it's not okay. And I need that. I need people in my life to hold me accountable, just like the people that I have that I'm in their life. That's
Yes.
how I show that love. Is I hold them accountable to the standard of, listen, got to get it together. We got to be good. And I'm not saying that we have to all agree on everything. That's not what I'm saying, cuz all the time I have differences of opinions with my friends on different things, but naturally, the things that count, the things that matter, really and truthfully, those things, like, I can sit here and talk for hours with Omika, with Master, with Nita about just natural things that's going to help better ourselves. That's going to bring more energy to us. That's going to bring more life to us, right? So if you don't have that, you definitely need it in some way in your life when you have sickle cell, because if you just got people in your life that's going to tell you anything, it's dangerous. It
Yeah,
is.
that
It's
makes
dangerous.
your friends.
Okay. Master telling the truth today. He said them ain't your friends.
Yeah, if you don't
Okay,
have
is
that,
there
you
anything
you
else
should
we're
be looking
missing?
at them.
Are
What else is missing?
or they have no understanding. So they better get some understanding, because
Yeah.
it's just not for them to give it out, but it's for them to retain it in their own lives. There's
Yeah.
something missing. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I
So,
know. What else missing?
huh?
Fruit snacks.
Knowledge. that
Oh,
they
yeah.
Education.
don't have
Fruit
no
snacks. I'll be
understanding.
right back.
Okay. I didn't even get in on the medical professionals yet, did I? Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
we're gonna go.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Bring it to me out.
So, okay.
Listen.
I think it was a conversation I had with you, Master, when we said it's what you do behind that closed door that matters. So, if there's a doctor or a nurse and you know that they're talking or
Oh,
they're mistreating the patient, and you can sit or stand by and do nothing,
Yes.
you're just as wrong.
yeah.
And if you
Uh,
can't correct those
Mm-hmm.
people behind closed doors and come and say, listen, that wasn't right. What happened to you? I actually, had the conversation, and I hope from here it changes for you. Stuff like that matters to
Mm-hmm.
patients. Stuff like that matters to patients' families. So, and I think that's also a vice versa thing when we just talked about holding your friends accountable, but just holding the community accountable and as a whole. Like when I see, oh, I curse the doctors out, and listen, listen. And this could be for a medical professional too, because they might feel like, oh, I told this person off. Listen, everybody is entitled to human, basic human decency, treating a person with the form of respect just as a human being, right? So if you don't have to, you shouldn't. I'm not saying, you know, I've never done it, because I was at a point in my life where when I was younger, yeah. And a couple doctors got cussed out, yeah. But now that I'm older and I know better,
Yeah.
you have to really, and even then, it takes a lot to get me out of character to even curse at a doctor. Not to say that, oh, they're just in this high respect of regards. It's more of a sense of, I'm not hurting anybody by acting out and cursing somebody out that is supposed to be there to help me. I'm not hurting them. I'm hurting myself by
Yeah.
raising my blood pressure. I'm hurting myself by mistreating the very people I'm asking to treat me with common decency and respect. Even if maybe perhaps they're a little slow. They might be a little, on the short bus sometimes, but it doesn't they don't you, you can't do it in the perspective of, I'll show them, because there's nothing you can do to show them if you're at their mercy.
Correct. What you have done, though, or this is what happens, it's also hurt other warriors.
There
Quick,
we go.
here's a quick story. Advocating for a patient in Cedar Sinai. And the nurse says, "Oh, you're not like the rest of them." And then they go to say that the nurses choose to, because of the past history, treat our warriors a certain way. And then when I asked the nurse, well, how many warriors are you talking about? They say, oh, 6 or 7. And I'm like, 6 or 7, you all decide that you're going to treat warriors the same, and it's not very good at the beginning because of past warriors? 6 or 7? So that means that the warriors have absolutely impacted others when everybody, quote unquote, else, the 6 or 7 is acting one way, and then you got a person that comes in acting another way. People don't
Mm,
understand, just like I'll say it. If white people have never seen, or another race outside of black have
Mm-hmm.
never seen another black person, when they see that black person, they're going to base all future black people on this one black person. It's stupid, but that's what they do. Needless to say, when I had my son's godmother was on an airplane and it was all Asians, an Asian said, "Oh, there's a nigger," not understanding that it's derogatory because that's what they were told we are. So it's their ignorance, but it's they're ignorant from not knowing something that they learned from somebody else. So
Yeah.
the ignorance of the nurses is that because 6 or 7 people that they treated acted out, they're going to treat everybody like they're acting out, or,
Yeah.
or
well,
you
I
know,
recently spazzed out.
receive that negativity. Yeah.
Yeah, I recently spazzed out though, but it was also under the terms of what I was speaking on earlier. Um, to have yourself together. uh, I called Shay about this, and I told her even then, like I speak against people going off on, but I had told her, I had did all of the yes ma'ams, no sirs. I had did all of that. You see in my charts that I haven't been in the hospital in the ER since 2019. You see in my charts that I haven't been admitted since 2018.
Mhm.
You see in my charts that I take a very low dose of medication. Uh, so it's not like I'm in here asking for nothing that's outrageous. Um, you know, and so when you do come to me and say, uh, first off, when I'm in pain for 6 hours, and you've managed to give me all types of antibiotics, in which you can't tell me what my infection is everything coming back negative. Yeah. So when you did say to me, the thought of what you said to me is the all sick. I had to teach them that all sicklers are not the same. Well, that to me it says that the reason why I've been in pain. And see, this is when those doctors come in, like what Shay was saying. When do they hold each other accountable? Because you're telling me that your resident has had me in pain for the past 6 hours because I have to teach them that all sicklers are not the same. Well,
Mhm.
what's the same? What are we speaking on when we say the same when my charts show that nothing is the same? My
Exactly.
charts show that my chart like, and I'm just being realistic. Like, how many people? It's not a lot of like people with sickle cell that you see that ain't been here, not even to an ER visit
Mhm.
in 3 years.
Mhm.
So it's like when you see this, and then when you see my mannerism, and then when you see all of this, and you see this for 6 hours straight, and I'm steady asking y'all, why haven't y'all addressed my pain? And then when I do get an answer, that's the answer. like no, like so yeah, I did have something to say, and then and then I did reporting and everything else behind that too. So it's not like I just said something to them and then but I do disagree with not wilding out, but these people need to understand too that pain will consume you if you
Yeah.
keep allowing somebody to be in pain for 6 7 hours.
Yeah.
And especially when I see that uh the IV has been in my arm for 5 of these hours. Yeah, the IV been in my arm for 5 of these hours. So when you feel like you shouldn't be getting treated a certain way because you've done the right things, like I've done the right things, I did everything right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that was that's where those doctors come in. When I'm complaining, nobody come and say what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody come in. They don't care about that. And then even if you do see like what was said earlier, when you see somebody, first off, a lie. If a person keep on allowing a lie to go without being addressed, that's like you in agreement with it. Yeah, it's like you in agreement with it. If I sit here and say I created Oxbrighter, and none of y'all say you lying, no, that's not true. It's kind of like y'all like, oh, okay, it's kind of like in agreement with that. You know what I mean? But the same way that we expect us to do it, I think that they should expect them to do it as well. The doctors and the nurses. You know what I mean? I can't stand for a person, right? Like I spoke on just a while ago. It's cool when two people are going back and forth. They on the same level. But I don't like to see when it's a person with 20 friends in the comments, and then it's this one person, and everybody going at that one person. Well, that's kind of how them doctors be. They
Yeah.
just know because of we underneath them in their heads, we all humans for real, but because of we are social class, we underneath them, we beneath them, that they could just treat us any old type of way.
Yeah.
And to kind of add to that, it's like this, right? So my problem is that there is like no real like solid solution for like immediate, say for instance a doctor has a pattern of treating, let's just say, a sickle cell patient. They don't believe any sickle cell patient actually has pain. They don't believe any sickle cell patient needs the amount of pain as their own. All the things, and they are abusing their power because they're in a position to
Yeah.
where you're at their mercy, right? So it's like they have that power, even over the nurse, who sometimes you get nurses that they know that they know, and they try to fight for you. They go to bat for you. They really do sometimes. And it's out of their control. They can't, there's nothing they can do to help you, right? Because that's how much power that doctor has. Who does that doctor answer to for real? And
That,
that's my problem with the medical community.
that's
Because
right.
if I go outside right now and a police officer pulls me over and happens to whoop my ass, okay? I said it. Happens to just, there is some, sometimes they get away with it, but there is a level of command they have to answer to when they mess up, when they do wrong, when they, if you file a report, if you go into the police precinct, and especially if they have enough dings and enough complaints on them,
Mm-hmm.
then there's an internal affairs investigation. Then there's, if it gets too bad, if it's a whole department of bad apples, then the Department of Justice, they have levels to answer to. They don't just have the power. They don't just have people that say, oh, there's nothing I can do, because they got all the power, right? So why is it doctors who have lives, literal lives in their hands, why do they have that much power? Why don't they have a real system and chain of command that they have to listen to the point of you don't got to go around the world to file a complaint to see if the complaint going to work, to go to the know how to write a letter to write the complaint and all that entails. And even if you have organizations that say, oh, I'll help you write the letter, or yeah, just let us know and we'll do it for you. Why is there gatekeeping? Why is the hospital? Why can't you tell the hospital, listen, this doctor has mistreated me. This doctor abused me. This doctor violated my civil rights, my patient's rights. And immediately there's a chain. Why is that not a thing?
It's a social status.
Well,
Cause
it's about money. It's
yeah.
also about the fact that those are not their doctors. And real quick, I do want to give props to Cedars, who had the charge nurse who actually did right by my patient. So since I talked about them, I talked about them before you two came on. Here's the thing, though. They have political presence. And because of that political presence, things were changed, even so, about the amount that a person could sue doctors for.
Yeah.
If they committed medical manslaughter and got caught in it. And that's $25,000. At least this in California. So if in the hospital it's found that people violated someone's lives and they actually killed them in the hospital, the most the family can get is $25,000. So again, they have that political power. The other thing is most doctors are not hired by the hospital. They're hired by an outside agency, just like the ED doctors, the hospitalists. They're on a list and they're not hired by the hospital. The nurses are, but not the experts or whoever you send in. They're contracted. And that's what makes it so hard. But you're right, we do need political protection from the doctors. But like a long time ago, I said, when you go to a hospital, you see whatever doctor is up next, is up the bat, so I put it. So at one hospital here in Southern California, the doctor would always shy away, never would take a patient diagnosed with sickle cell because he did not believe that they were in that much pain.
Wow.
But his peers started getting after him and complained to their peers because they say every time he comes up for a sickle cell patient, he's passed by. That's not fair. So, but he didn't, and he still show he doesn't believe in sickle cell patients. But the same thing is with any of the hospitals, is whoever is on rounds. They might not know anything about sickle cell. And to my understanding, most of the hospitalists were like pediatric doctors who didn't really ever see a patient. So if that's true, then we're not going to get treated fairly either as an advocate or a sickle cell warrior because they honestly don't know that much to anything about sickle cell and they think their license gives them the power to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the judges when you think about it. That's why I say it's a social status because, like you spoke about the police, the judges be the same. The police could send them to jail, but once the police can arrest them, but what the judge say, it's tough to overturn that.
Yeah. So the other thing, and that goes again to judges, the DAs, and doctors. We don't know who they are. They're up to bat. And for all we know, they could be a KKK member. So let me
Yep.
be clear. We're the only people, we got to take doctors and we don't even know their background. And that's it's hard to even get them online before they see you. It's only afterwards that you see them, and then you can look them up and find out whatever their reputation is. But it's kind of interesting. We're stuck with whoever we get. And finally, I will say that when it became the HMOs, way back in the day, not too far, but in the day, most Black doctors were not allowed to participate in those groups. They were
Mm.
either white or they were people from another country. And they had all of our Black doctors basically have to run out of their own brick and mortar. And now you even see fewer Black doctors and our nurses. So, if you want to get rid of somebody, a little history is before there was insurance that we were working towards and getting, we weren't seen. We were put down in the basement, however dark and dingy it was, but the times that we were allowed to have our Black doctors and we were going to our black doctors as Black patients, it was all good. It's when they saw that we have money tied through insurance that they slowly began to take our money, our insurance money, but they didn't treat us really all that good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
I'm through.
I want to say
Listen,
too
she
that
said, I'm through, I'm through, I'm through. Listen,
Whew.
look, I think that I just wanted to kind of touch upon a little bit of what Tanisha was saying, but also kind of wrap this portion up because we do gotta speak up a little for a little while, and it's not going to take that long. But I want to make sure we don't go too long today. Um, so hold on, let me let's see.
how many people can be on this?
Eight, I think.
Hmm.
8 or 9. I think a
That's
little
another
more.
thing that's missing in the community, though.
Yeah.
Four
Um.
people should be down there.
Hmm?
Four more people should be down there. That's another thing that's missing.
People
You
speaking up.
really see the same faces for real.
Yeah. People need to speak up more.
Yeah.
And I know that,
Participation.
yeah, the fear of just people's opinions, the fear of just not, not, it's not to say not knowing what you're talking about, but just not understanding how to speak out in a way that is not hurtful to the community or condescending. Is that the word I'm trying to use? Okay.
Yeah, if y'all struggle with those things, hit me up in the inbox. I'll get you together. Yeah, if you
That's why
struggle
we
with
got this
fear,
mentorship program so y'all can
yeah, you
understand.
struggle with fear of what people gonna think about you, hit me up in the inbox. I get you right with that.
Yeah.
You want to speak, but you struggle with what people gonna think, what people gonna feel like this, people gonna feel like that. Trust me, I got you. Hit me up.
He
Well,
got you.
I'm
So
the
yeah,
best person for the. I'm the best person for that job.
listen, I think that everybody here is the best
Hmm.
person for that job.
Time you get done with that,
None
you
of
won't
us
even
care
worry
about
about what
being
they say.
disliked here. As long as we are speaking our truth and speaking the truth, I think that whether or not people like it or not, it's it's really just how you take it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, if it bothers you, anything that I've said or anything any one of us has said, the shoe might fit. You might need
Yeah,
to reevaluate some things, and that's okay. That not putting you down, just saying if it's not growing, it's dying.
And if
So
it's bothering you, that's something that's probably missing. Counseling, therapy.
yeah.
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 So basically, what I was just taking from what Tanisha was saying is that you can't be everything for everybody. You can't join a fight that nobody wants to have. You can't lead a fight that nobody wants to have. Ultimately, if there is some sort of mistreatment and you think that it's something, you know, like it won't make a difference if you speak up or not, it will. You could probably be that difference between, you know, getting good treatment and someone, the next sickle cell patient, never being able to go home. So I know that's like a lot of pressure, but that's how you have to look at things.
Well, if you
Because
tell the truth,
And you can lead a fight that nobody wants. Look at what we doing.
yeah, it could take.
yeah,
Uh, yeah. This started with a few people, so you can lead a fight that nobody want to have. When it comes to men, you don't really see that many of them, but I'm still here. A couple of other guys that still come on here and talk. Uh, I've reached out to many, many, many men, like
hmm
to a lot of men, and they don't want to talk. But I mean, you just got to work with the ones that do, and you know that they got it.
Yeah, they might have their reasons, and one of the main reasons is a lot of people don't want to talk up is because it's not that they're thinking about if they will be discriminated against or mistreated by their hospitals, but that they have been mistreated by their hospitals, people in the hospitals. That's the one thing. That's why more people don't file the ADA complaints because they don't want
Uh,
to be treated bad because they still got to go to the same hospitals.
well, here's the thing: people was treated bad, so we can actually go to those hospitals.
listen,
They were treated worse than what we ever getting today.
listen.
I got a book, that medical apartheid book.
Yeah,
Those
I
people
have
got
that one too.
experimented on just
yeah,
so we can go to these hospitals and get experimented on less.
yeah,
We're still getting experimented.
yeah. Well, out of the basement at least.
Yeah.
Yes.
For most hospitals, as a matter of fact, got to tell you this, and I forgot who told me, but they went to one hospital and they had the basement. They put people who had COVID in the basement. And all those people, they said, they just roll them down there. They say that's the dead room. And that's what
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah, I probably would
So
have broke out of there.
yeah, I mean, if you're at a new hospital, we don't know how all these hospitals run either to say that. But uh and that's the thing, they were not allowed to take an advocate with them during.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like they kept them out. And the number of people that died, if you were, like they said, I had nurses tell me, if you had to be on the ventilator, they just put, some hospitals just put you in there.
Uh,
Yeah, it's a business, and they hospitals made buku money off of the COVID patients.
Yeah.
Buku. So you have to have people that you trust, or you have to go with someone, or even if you're on the phone with someone all the time, because unfortunately these people are just people, and when health is about business over a life, and that's what we see too much of, business over a life.
I
The-
was talking to my sister about having COVID in the hospital because she got really sick, and her boyfriend got really sick in the hospital, and no one could go up there and see them. They were both in the ICU, and there were no visitors because of COVID. And I was just telling her, I think that's why so many people passed away, because they're not used to being in the hospital. They don't know what's going on, what their rights are and stuff. And that was like really sad, because it's just like, if you don't know, they're just going to tell you anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you file a complaint, Miss Nita?
Oh, with the ADA. All right, I'm on my phone. Let me get this information. Or if I can have you
You
text, I'll send you the information. So
is
text
there
me.
is there a link?
Hmm.
It's all on my phone.
Okay. No, I
So,
asked because if there's a link, we could just post it in the
oh
comments for people.
yeah, we can. I'll post it after this because we can still post. I'll put the
Okay,
link.
yeah.
Hmm.
I said, okay, yeah, that works.
That yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah,
No
I'll
problem.
make sure I do.
Okay. So that that's going to wait before I conclude it. Does anybody got anything else they want to say? Did we miss anything? Is we missing something that we missing?
Well, that's why it's so. That's why Speak Up is so cool
Yes.
because you're going to teach people how to for themselves first, and then.
Hmm.
But we got to know what to do for ourselves. We got to know the laws, what we can, and that's needed. That's
Yeah.
needed. And the other thing is, just because you are an advocate, practically no one has 100% success rate during advocacy. We just do the dang on best we can, know what we can do, know when to go up the ladder. And I will say to all of our people diagnosed with sickle cell, if you can contact your advocate before Friday night or the weekend, when you got a whole new mindset of individuals and that the hospitals run like a regular business, either 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. That's what it is. So it's harder on the weekend or after or on Friday even. You do
Hmm.
yourself a disservice and you don't allow the advocates to do what's best for you.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Why is it hard on the weekend?
What was that?
I said, what makes it harder on the weekend?
Oh shoot. You only get one nurse manager if you get that, or else you get whatever charge nurse, and
Mhm.
everything else is closed. Administration's closed. A lot, it's just you can't get as many services as you could during the week.
Mm.
Yeah.
Don't go stand in the hot. Don't go stand at home for
Exactly.
4 days. Wait until after the weekend.
Exactly. And people look at you like you come in for the weekend. I tell them, hey, people got jobs. They got to get their children straight before they can just go to the hospital. There are other reasons, but we got fight on our hands. Anyway,
Absolutely. All right, y'all. So that's going to conclude the conversation about what's missing from the sickle cell community, what we feel is missing. I think that we could go on for hours and hours and hours
yes.
about that
Me,
subject alone because it's just so much work to be done. It is. And I just, hope and pray that we can somehow get it together so that we can all fight together because that's what it's actually going to take is unity and fighting for one another and making sure we are proactively fighting for ourselves, not reactively fighting for ourselves. So, um, if you don't know, case in case you've been under a rock or something, no, it's been a while since we really talked about it. But in case you don't know, we actually have a program that we put together called Speak Up. Now, Speak Up is a elocution mentorship program. If you all don't know what an elocution is basically just a fancy word for public speaker. Okay, literally. So, um, I have broken it down to you know what 5-step learning process training we will be doing the process of what you learn. This is just like kind of just the preview of it. It is much more intricate than this. So don't think I'm giving out jewels, because if you go off this, you gonna have a hard time. So we really built this program out. I want to thank the team, because you all are amazing. So thank you for just being your amazing selves and working on this with me. So step one is evaluate your public speaking skills. Okay. Step two is branding yourself. Step three is successfully speaking on panels. It is not easy. The way that we just spoke on this panel right now, that is not an easy thing. We make it look real easy, don't it? Don't it? But it ain't really that easy to really successfully speak on a panel. Um, there's etiquette to it. There's a way that you act, and there's a way that you kind of give other people. You don't want to monopolize a conversation unless you are the host and you got to lead the conversation. But that's a different story. Okay, then we have step 4 is political advocacy. Step 5 is hospital advocacy. Now, from the beginning, you will be assigned your own mentor to help provide success in this program. This, again, is our 90-day 5-step training. So it'll take a little while, because there's so much into that goes into each module, and so much um, real information that you'll be able to attain and be successful in. It is something that I feel is extremely necessary, especially for those people who want to be advocates. I think that it is very irresponsible to just call yourself an advocate, and not take some form of training or education in the process. I said it, I meant it. Okay. Moving right along. Moving right along. We also have um, we also have a shorter version of this program, because we know how overwhelming or intimidating it can be to commit yourself to something for 90 days, especially as a person who has sickle cell. Now, originally, this was only for sickle cell patients, but we are extending this to sickle cell trait and sickle cell patients, because it's also necessary for trait warriors to have education and know how to advocate for themselves, because they get sick sometimes. They go through their own set of problems and issues, and they may just have someone close to them who has sickle cell. So they will be able to also help provide guidance in that manner as well. So we have came up with a couple of courses within this that is attached to this training. So the first module is step 1. So you'll have a 1-hour webinar where you will be basically you will watch a variety of lessons on specific topics about um, basically step 1, evaluating your public speaking skills, basically learning how to hone your craft and finding your voice and stuff like that. So that is a, again, 1-hour webinar that will come with one mentor to have a conversation with you for 1 hour before you take a beautifully thought out quiz that will enable you to get a certificate of completion for just that one part. Okay, this is that's only one part of it. So there's also a 3 hour um, workshop. Sorry, there's a 3 hour workshop, and in that workshop, you will learn step one, two, and three. So you will be learning very shortened versions of those modules, and not only learning them but applying them. And you will have a panel of um, our mentors to help guide you to critique your assignments and to make sure you receive the proper knowledge of each module, so that way by the time you complete module 3, you again can receive a certificate of completion, and you can feel comfortable with speaking up. That's the whole point of this program, is to give people the opportunity to speak up more and be able to have these conversations, know what they're talking about, and know how to be effective. And we also have step 4 is uh, its own workshop, political advocacy. Say you just want to be a political advocate, right? Say you just want to go and have conversation with, about legislation, have conversations with the politicians in your area, or go to Washington. Say you just have that in mind. Well, you are able to learn from that workshop, but you also have to have a prerequisite, because you can know how to do political advocacy, but if you don't know how to effectively be a public speaker, be an effective public speaker, the political advocacy part is just going to be lacking, and you're not going to be as effective as you would like. So you would have to either take the 1 hour or the 3 hour uh, workshops, and before you can take political advocacy or the hospital advocacy workshop. But yeah, those are different ones. And again, these are ways that you can advocate for yourself, specifically with the shorter versions, right? And also, if you decide you take the 1 hour course, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. I loved it. I completed it. I want to take the 3 hour one next because I did it. You take the 3 hour course. Okay, great, amazing. Yes. Right? And you did it. You completed it. You got your certificate. And you're like, you know what? I want to actually try for the 90-day course, because this way you get a more extensive, you get your own actual mentor that works personally with you. You have a lot more offered to you, and you have more time to get things completed. And also, if you've taken the 1 hour and the 3 hour, it does cut down your time for the 90-day, and it is cheaper. So, of course, all of this that is offered is not free, because our time that we put into this and just the information, and honestly, the reality is we just want you to take it serious. And if it's free, we doubt that you will. That's just us being honest. So if there is a price, anything you got to pay for, you go take serious. If you go pay $100 for some Jordans, $150 for some Jordans, um, and somebody step on them, you're gonna have a problem. Okay, so same thing, same deal. Okay? You if you pay for something, you'll have more pride in it and you'll take it more serious. So the 1 hour course, the 1 hour webinar, sorry, is $35. The 3 hour is 75 if you take it alone, but if you take that in connection to, like, say if you took the 1 hour course first, you get a discount and it's 70. Um, as well as if you decide you want to go on to the 90-day training, that is 150 usually, but if you take the first two, then there is a discount from that as well. So, um, do I know I just said a whole lot. I, I'm just trying to make sure I don't keep everybody here too long. I want to know, is there anything our mentors have to say? What is it that they would get from you personally as a mentor? You know, what is it that you like about this program? What made you want to be a part of this project? So yeah, I know I just asked a lot of questions, but yeah, I can repeat it if you want me to. Oh, I said a lot. Oh my goodness.
And
Jeez.
one of those, took one of those deep breaths before you started going.
How'd I do, y'all? Did I do okay with that?
Yeah, it was cool.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I was in here like, whoa, I can't believe I said it. That was,
Now you ain't gotta
whew,
say it again though. You could just take that and then
I cut it up, right? It just
yeah,
post
loop
it out. Like, listen,
it like a commercial.
I know.
Even if
I
you
did
do
an
a voiceover,
infomercial.
right? Even if you do a voiceover, you can take all of us off of here and do a voiceover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Okay, so yeah, who wants to talk about the program, what they will get from you as a mentor, and why you decided to sign on to build such a program?
Wait, what?
Why you decided to sign on to build such a program out like this, and what they will get from you as a mentor?
Well, for me, they'll get the truth. They'll get 25 years of doing this, not just for one, but for many different people diagnosed. Um, it's just an experience that everybody really needs to know how to successfully advocate, know what to say and what not to say. Um, that can help
Mhm.
save the life of you and or someone else. And it's weird because a couple of people have really told me that I saved their life. And even sometimes when I would be on the phone. So it's a job that you don't get paid for, but
Hmm.
monetarily, but you get God's blessings and the benefit of knowing that you helped somebody. You really helped somebody, or you actually may have saved a life. And a lot of my mentees and the people I advocate turn into real friends, years friends. And it's sometimes haphazardly how we come to be friends. But the main thing is we are our brother's keepers. And if we don't help each other, we're going to continue being the way we have been, including being ignored. There's time where, as being an advocate, each person that comes into the room, you're able to educate them. And that means something in the long run. Because when I talk to people, they say, oh, wow, I didn't know that. There's a lot that people didn't know. So the only way they're going to learn it is if we tell them the truth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's it.
I just wanted to say it do sometimes pay. Okay, let's say that. I'm not gonna lie. You do get a
Yeah.
little something on there.
Pennies,
Um,
dollars, whatever we charge, it could never really
yeah,
cover
it's
us for all that we do. So yeah,
yeah,
that's why. Yeah.
yeah. And just before you guys speak about it, just real quick, I just wanted to say the end goal for this is to uh a lot like give people the opportunity to be able to speak and have a platform for themselves, find their voice in other organizations, events, and pharmaceutical companies, stuff like that, through relationships, forming relationships. And also, um, I can't quite say what's coming, but from us as a team, but I can say there will be also another portion that is bigger than us, that it will give other people who take being an advocate serious the opportunity to be a part of the team and be an intricate part of something very unique and creative that's coming. And uh, I'm gonna leave it at that because listen, what's understood don't need explaining. So, uh, okay, Omika, do you want to answer
Yeah.
the question?
I was gonna say that all these courses are very important. I feel like you can't do one without the other. I feel like you need all of the courses. And as far as me being an advocate, I'm very passionate. I will be on your side. I'm very supportive. Whatever you need, I'll be there for you, to support your advocacy, whatever you want to do.
Awesome. Okay,
uh,
Master.
yeah, I don't know what you're gonna get from me. Yeah, it
Stop playing.
depends on what day we on. Yeah, you might get an opportunity to for me to call these one of these beautiful women, and then you get to talk to them about whatever you're going through. Cause
Okay.
yeah, I might not have an answer for you. Yeah, I might not have an answer for you. You might not want it the way that I'm gonna give it. Everybody don't like flat out, brutal honesty. So I'm gonna have to call somebody that be nicer. Unless you like brutal honesty, then then you'll be winning. I got that for you. Yeah,
Yeah,
a
you
different
also.
perspective. Yeah, you'll get a different perspective from me
Yes.
because um yeah, I really do believe that there's always another way to look at things. Right. And so I always try to figure out that way. Yeah.
Okay. And what made you want to, be a part of this program, help build this program
Um,
out?
you want the real?
I love
Listen, go
you.
ahead.
It's a lot of no. When you see some people talk, you be like, this person can't be for real. So you want to help, right? You want to like try to help. Um, yeah, I done seen some people, that's like older than me say some of the dumbest things, and yeah, they need to take the program too. Yeah, they be like 50 years old. They need to take the program too, not just the youth. They need to be some older people too. There should be some seniors in this class. There should be some seniors because sometimes some people be saying crazy stuff.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
there's a to be learned, and
Yeah.
if you're going to learn it, then you
they be
should. It's
like,
important.
what? Alcohol helped you with your crisis.
What?
You're like, people say crazy stuff. Oh, when I'm in a crisis,
I
I
heard,
drink.
I
Like,
Well,
heard
these are like the dumbest
that.
stuff.
I heard
Like, You'd be
But
like,
yeah,
no, alcohol
but
dehydrates
it's
you, dude.
you it's different. No,
Yeah.
So
So,
okay.
I love this. I love the mentors in this program is because I feel like everybody brings a very unique perspective and a very different type of or form of advocacy that they mostly focus on or in, right? So we have a lot of similarities, of course, but there is a lot of ways uh, Nita is stronger in different things like hospital advocacy, and, different things like, I'm might be stronger in just knowing how to build how to make videos, how to be effective in making and posting videos, stuff like that. Things we all bring to the table that means a lot. You know, Master with his art, Omika with her business sense and everything that she does. It's like it's all a beautiful, perfect storm of greatness. Not a bad storm, a good one, because I feel like it's just something that needs to happen, and we take the punches and we roll with them, and we don't give up. And that's one thing. We're very persistent. Uh, I know I'm the same way. I know I'm not the best mentor for everybody because I'm gonna hold you accountable always. Not a piece of the time, not some of the time, all the time. Okay? So if you don't like to be held accountable, I'm not the mentor for you. And it's just different people offer different mentors offer different things. And it's just all about becoming better, challenging yourself to evolve, challenging yourself to change your way of thinking and what it is you want to do, the mark you want to make in the world and in the community. Um, I think I ain't got nothing else to say.
One of the things that's so cool is we all help bring out the endorphins in people. We all laugh. We everything's not so number 100% serious,
Yeah, yeah.
and endorphins are healing.
Listen, we like to laugh here. We don't get it twisted. Don't think because we do these lives and we buttoned up and serious that we don't get up out here and just cut up and laugh and have a good old time. You can see it through all of our faces, the brightness in us. You know what I'm saying? That glow that we have. That's because we we find the humor in life. We find the funny and we hold on to the goodness and the positivity and we share that with each other. And you listen, if you don't kind of circle like this, I feel bad for you. Okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm winning over here. I love it here. I love it here, okay? So, um yeah, anything else anyone want to add or say? No. Okay. Well, I want to thank those who have been watching and thank those who will watch later. Make sure you like, make sure you share to other people because we said a lot of information that people need to hear, not just should hear, they need to hear it. And you never know who you are changing or impacting just with sharing a video. Um, that is one way that I will appreciate you forever if you just share this video. If you are interested in joining the Speak Up program in any capacity, you can reach out to me or any mentor, but I would suggest me because sometimes People don't be on Facebook, and it's okay. But it's just uh, it's just better if you reach the person that actually checks their messages. That's all. No shade, no shade. But
Nita
yeah.
don't check her messages, huh?
So I'm in the process. I have to update the application, but just know if you plan to apply for for any like workshops or any the webinar or whatever you plan to apply for, all that's going to be updated by next week. But if you're interested and you're like, listen, I can't wait till next week, what you talking about? Then hey, inbox me so I know to let you know when it's time to go ahead and head over to the website. If you haven't checked the website out, I suggest you do. It is very nice and amazing, and it lets you know some things about Speak Up. Other than that, I'm tired of saying So, with that being said, I'm going to leave y'all with my positive words of wisdom. Until next time, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Until next time, folks, peace.